Everyone.
Started. We'll go ahead and get started. I think Lisa may join. I'm not sure about Renee, but I'll just do a quick introduction. I know we have a few new committee members on here, and then if everyone else could do a quick 30-second introduction for yourself, new committee members. I think I had on the agenda, if you could quickly share why you joined RASE or wanted to join our committee meetings, that would be great. But I'm Corinthia Simmons. I am a commissioner for Single Member District 05. I joined RASE probably in 2021. And I joined because of my experiences in the neighborhood, and I'm one of the co-chairs. Libby, you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Let's see. I joined as just a neighbor in the Chevy Chase resident. I didn't have any particular organization or backing but I was interested in what was announced in the neighborhood. And during the time of the ANC work on the Civic Core and the comprehensive plan, I was following a lot of that work and was already becoming interested in what was going on. And then the call for members to join a task force that was formed after the murder of George Floyd. I got involved that way. Go ahead, everybody.
So we were just doing quick introductions since we had a few new people. So I don't know if you want to go, Lisa, as one of the founding members of RAISE, and then welcome Shannon. That's what we're doing, just quickly why people join for the new members who missed last month's meeting. We didn't get to hear from you. 30 seconds.
Did you want me to go, Corinthia?
Yes, and then
I'm sorry.
Then anybody else can go after that. Sorry.
Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to see all the new faces, the new members. Congratulations. I'm so proud and so glad that you guys are here. My name is Lisa Gore. I am definitely proud to be one of the faces of the original RACE Committee. Founded it as a commissioner, and so happy to see where it's come. So thank you. Have a great meeting tonight, and we'll keep talking.
Want me to go next, Corinthia?
Sure. Feel free to just go.
Hi, my name's Maria Sims, and I've been a member for a while now. I joined because I've been part of this community for about 31 years now, and I just wanted to make sure that I had some insight of what was going on as far as the RACE Committee, because I like this objective and I've been around because I like the vision so far.
Great. I can go next. Ty Wingfield. I'm a new member, a Washingtonian, native Washingtonian, born and raised. My husband and I moved back to DC about 3 years ago with our son. We actually lived across the street from Lisa Gore before we purchased our current home. And as a DC resident, Washingtonian, live in the Chevy Chase neighborhood, I'm, very passionate and committed about racial equity. I also work professionally in the DEI space. And as you can imagine, that work has evolved over the last year. And so looking for ways to put my energy and professional experience into more localized task forces like this one. So really excited to join all of you and contribute and also learn.
I can go next really quickly. Lester Burke. I've been in DC for about 25 years, 11 years down on Capitol Hill, and then we moved out here a while back, about 14 years ago. And I kind of joined the committee based on working and talking with Bruce a little bit, just getting more active in the neighborhood, and figured this would be a way rather than just complain or yell with my neighbors. This would be a way to participate in issues that are interesting me. The development along the Connecticut Avenue and just other areas as well. It's good. I think this is a great way to become involved, participate more, and learn. So
I'll jump in. I'm Ron Eichner, and I was on the original racial race task force, whatever it was called. I came to this as I was getting involved, more and more involved in the history of our neighborhood in Fort Reno, and as I was learning stuff there, George Floyd happened, and I just felt compelled to get involved in racial and social equity issues, and so joined the task force. That's how I came to it. Why I stay with it is that this group honestly has been one of the joys of my life. I'm very involved in the community, and this is the only space where all the pettiness and egos that characterize so much of the discourse in the neighborhood, those things just don't show up here. I love you guys. It's been great, and I just find it a, a, a very positive personal growth experience to be having these discussions with this group of people. So that's how I came to it. That's why I stay with it. And thank you all.
Ron, this is Brian. I'll just say you were one of the first people to suggest to me that perhaps I should consider joining the RASE Committee. So in part, I will acknowledge that it was your inspiration to raise my hand when I saw that the committee was open to new members. I am a 26-year resident of Ward 3 and 4. And I was really interested in the early work of the task force and the outcome of that around, a safe community space. Sorry about that. Around the community center and a place at the community center for topics around equity and race in our community. I am the sitting vice chair for finance of our United Nations Association of the National Capital Area. And in that role, I have participated in our kind of evolution of our DEI to what we're now calling our EACH principles, embrace all culture and humanity. So we're kind of, I think from my perspective, I want to see more celebration of the diversity that we do have in our neighborhood. And Ron, I think I've mentioned to you, I live within one block of two former presidents of the DC Chamber of Commerce, a Howard University professor and his partner, and Larry Bailey, who structured the endorsement contracts for the Williams sisters, lives half a block from me. So a lot of folks in our community that I think are maybe unsung heroes of the community and are less well known. I'm also a big fan of Julian Bond, and would like to see his memory expanded at the community center.
Mm-hmm.
Well, certainly there's a lot to be celebrated in the neighbors that we have. But we also have to remember that we did have neighbors that we displaced over the course of time. And that's one of the reasons why I was attracted to this committee. From the very beginning, I have been working with Historic Chevy Chase, DC. My name is Carl Lankowski. And that organization has become very attuned, not only to the architecture that we all love and the physical look of the place that we've all celebrate in various ways, and to the people that have been successful here from various walks of life, but also to our history and what it has meant for us to be able to enjoy the kind of life that we do here. We owe everything we have to the city in which we live. And that city we have some obligation to. It's in that spirit that I welcome the opportunity to participate in the deliberations of this committee.
Thank you for that, Carl. My name is Marilee Jansen, and I'm a longtime resident of the community, and I'm a representative of Northwest Neighbors Village on the committee. Our organization, as you probably know, I hope you know, we support older adults living in our community to be socially engaged and safe and accessible to their needs like medical appointments and things like that. We also are committed to increasing the diversity and inclusion in our organization. And I'm also on a personal anti-racism journey, having grown up as a very privileged white woman. So this has meant a lot to me to be a part of this group.
Well, I'll go next. So I'm Cal Simone, and I was also on the original task force on racism, and have been on this committee as well. And I am, in 4 days, my family will be 64 years since my family moved into the house on Nevada Avenue. Let's see what else. I've taught anti-racism. I have a unique transformation around race that a few people on this committee know, but not everybody. And let's see, what else was I going to say? Can't remember. There was one more thing. Well, I don't remember what it was, so I'll just yield my time.
I can go next. Hi, everyone. My name is Shannon Wolf-Traeger. I've been in the Chevy Chase neighborhood for about 5 years now with my family. We have 2 children at Lafayette Elementary. At Lafayette, I co-chair the Belonging Committee of Lafayette, which is the DEI committee that connects parents with the school and the community around these kinds of issues. I am also certified in DEI practices through Cornell University, and I play a role in my organization with our first DEI assessment that happened in 2019, and the following action plans and vision statement that came out of that, including my own, passion project of launching a Women in Leadership lunch series. And so I'm excited to be here. I see diversity from a wide range of perspectives. And even on this call, there are multiple types of diversity that we can see and probably many more that we cannot see. And so I really am thankful to be part of this group. So thanks for having me here.
I remember the other thing I wanted to say, which was that I have difficulty with the word inclusion, because what are people being included into? The white dominated society? I don't like the word, and several of my associates out in the world of anti-racism also have an issue with it. Diversity, great. Equity, great, but inclusion, nah, that doesn't work.
Disagree, big time. I think inclusion is the word to use these days. We want to include everybody.
Yeah, but what are you including them in?
Well,
because we have a white dominated
for
society.
me, it's our organization, and it's my personal life, and it's my community and my neighborhood. Sorry, we don't need to go there right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let us
See, Ron, there we go, Ron. Anyway, who's next?
Yeah.
Hi, Rooster.
I'll introduce myself. I'm Catherine Curley. I've lived in Chevy Chase on Legation Street for almost 11 years, almost 12 years now, actually. I have a 4th grader at Lafayette and a 6th grader at Deal. And I was interested in becoming more involved in the ANC and things going on in the neighborhood, because I feel like now is a really important time to become involved in our communities on a really local level where we feel like we can make a real difference. And I'm interested in seeing how Chevy Chase can develop, and it can change, and it can include many, many different people from all walks of life. So I'm looking forward to getting to know everyone and getting involved in the committee and in the neighborhood.
Thank you so much, everyone, for providing your feedback. This will probably be the last meeting that we ask everyone to do their introduction. So thank you for going through that. I'll just like to ask Carol and Bruce if you guys would like to share anything on, your interest in joining our RASE committee, and then we'll just jump right into the agenda. Okay, so
Bruce, you're muted, Bruce.
Yeah,
okay.
Bruce, you're mute.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, so I'll just mention that, first of all, I'm very happy that 3 of my constituents are part of the committee, Libby and Brian, and now Brian and Lester are new members. Libby's been on, as she mentioned, for quite some time. I'm interested in a number of things. I'm interested in the intersection of race and social equity with the other issues that we confront in the neighborhood, be they transportation, education, public safety, these sorts of things, how they intersect. I'm also interested in what several of you have mentioned, which is exploring and celebrating, getting to know the diversity in the neighborhood across a broad spectrum of issues, race, of course, socioeconomic levels, of course, and also the number of people in our community who are foreign born. I represent a lot of people who come from all over the world. And when I speak to them, particularly if they're newly arrived, they do feel foreign. They welcome being in the neighborhood, but they also welcome being welcomed. And I think that's something that's important to me to do personally with them, but also it's something that perhaps this committee can take a look at in terms of this broad inclusion that we're talking about. And finally, I'm just very interested in all of you and your stories and what brings you to the committee, what you hope to bring to the work of the committee and of the commission. And I thank you for your service.
Yeah, I'm Carol Grunwald. I'm a commissioner from ANC 34G03, and I'm mostly here to observe. I don't want to take up all your time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone for the introductions. As I mentioned, we won't do this in our meetings going forward. I'm gonna just kind of briefly go over number 2, the recap. So RASE started from the Task Force on Racism, and we will have a meet and greet on October 30th, and Lisa can dive more into that if there's anyone on the committee that's extremely interested in that. I'm going to move on to our next item. We have other ANCs have a draft. Oh, go ahead, Lisa. You're on the agenda for this one, so go ahead. Sorry.
Just about. I don't have the agenda in front of me.
Oh, it's the H Street renaming of Charlie Kirk. So this is the item we have on the resolution now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got an email. So Brian, you sent an email earlier today about how this came on. So just to kind of give everyone an understanding, sometimes former commissioners will send ANCs, sometimes citywide, sometimes just select ANCs, sign-on letters or sample go-by resolutions that they want other ANCs to adopt. So former Commissioner Branham, who is well known in the city, comes out of Ward 5, very well known, sent out a resolution about renaming by the federal administration, current administration, a portion of H Street for the former Turning Point activist that was murdered, Charlie Kirk. So I had briefly heard about that. Actually, I did not, to be honest with you, I didn't think it was, I don't know why I didn't take it serious when I heard about it. I was like, oh, they're not going to rename H Street. But when he sent the email out, to the commissions, I was like, okay, this apparently is about to happen. And as a commission, we should definitely probably take it up. So I forwarded to the race co-chairs to see if they would be interested in putting it on the agenda for race, because I do think that, and sometimes I do that, so maybe this will answer your question too, Brian. I could have easily have just like flipped it to the ANC and said, along with the resolution, and said, I'm putting it on the agenda. Sometimes I like to bring it through those type of social equity issues, bring it through this group, because we do have so much diversity. And there's sometimes where we say, yeah, that should be something, I think the ANC should take up. And then sometimes they're like, yeah, maybe, maybe not. So it's good to have like a different voice. And we are an advisory group to the ANC. So there's also, in addition to just getting a resolution, blanket resolution from somebody that says, hey, adopt this, we think the administration, regardless of the political leaning, is wrong to try to rename one of our DC streets. Here are some of the other issues that we see from that, from the social equity perspective. So I thought race would be a really great group to kind of talk about that. And if there's something, or if we decide that we should recommend to the ANC to take up a resolution, we could, say, here's why. Here, and that's like kind of the beauty of race. Like, here's the equity issue in that. And there's like quite a few of them, because it's an equity issue just for the federal administration to come down and say, I'm taking over your street name. That's an equity issue to me. And then obviously there's a huge issue with renaming that street after that individual, because that's a Black section of Washington, D.C. And that community is going to feel some kind of way. And it's almost how I would liken our reaction to Newland. But you could imagine, it's a closer reaction for them because it's closer in time. And then you have compounding that, the way which, he was murdered. So I think it's a good discussion for us to have, because it really does hit on what we do as a committee, and will allow us to kind of discuss like the broad implications like for citywide and our community. So with that, Corinthia, I don't know if you want to maybe like post share screen. So, because I'm sorry, I don't know if you passed the resolution out to the total membership, if they've seen it, or if you want to just hit the points, maybe go over the resolution so they know exactly what's in there.
Libby, why don't you make your point while she's doing that?
Yeah, can we basically say that it's senators of the U.S. Congress who are recommending that this portion of H Street be renamed in honor of Charlie Kirk, calling it Charlie Kirk Patriot Way. And what I'm interested in knowing is, has our ANC 34G already expressed its support as an individual ANC? Because I see this document and I'm just wondering, like, what have we done so far as an ANC with that? And then stepping back from that, what can RACE do to make its own specific recommendation to our ANC to contribute?
Mm-hmm. So I can answer on the ANC part. I don't even know if all commissioners in ANC 34G got the email. I have no idea. I don't know if Robert sent it to me, or if he sent it to all ANCs. I'm not sure. There's another commissioner, Commissioner Miguel Deramo, who's with 1B. I don't know if he's got it. So I'm not sure what the distribution is. But ANC 34G has not taken this up at all. We haven't even had email traffic about this. So I'm not sure if people on the commission are even aware of it.
Probably not.
Yeah, they might not be.
I got a copy of it. I've seen it. Somehow I got a copy of it, yeah.
I mean, it's outrageous if you think of it.
I'll tell you, I don't know about the ANC politics of making the resolution or not, but the whole notion that after Dr. King was murdered, 8th Street was destroyed. And it took 40 years before a dollar of investment went into that black neighborhood, while lots of investment went into other parts of the city. It took 40 years before a new building was built and a couple of new bars opened on 8th Street. And the notion of naming a portion of 8th Street after a racist like Charlie Kirk is just outrageous. And I would be supportive of any statement of outrage that we could make, and I would love to have something along, some diplomatic version of what I just said included in that. In addition, the federal government shouldn't name streets in Washington. That should be DDOT's job. And the DC government's job, if they want to commemorate people, to do that. I don't know by what process the feds would name a street. I don't know how that would happen. I mean, Lisa, if you know bureaucratically how that might happen, I'd love to hear it.
So our next speaker, Commissioner Miguel, is on. So I think if we could spend about 5 to 8 more minutes on this topic, so that we don't keep Miguel longer than we need. So we have Brian, Cal, then Lisa, if you can.
So I'll keep it short. I think it is easy to support the resolution as Commissioner Branham drafted it, or the folks that were on that task force. But my question is, has the mayor or the mayor's office expressed an opinion about this resolution? And we are talking about the section of H Street from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce to Vermont, which is essentially dovetailing directly to the former Black Lives Matter Plaza, that area.
Oh, really?
Which is kind of that area. In a way, it's even more a direct affront around the former Black Lives Matter Plaza. So it's I have the same question as Ron, though, and that is, isn't this DDOT's job? And how does it happen that Rick Scott can, say, let's change the name?
Thank you, Brian. We'll get back to you on if the mayor hasn't expressed an opinion. I don't think so, but we could circle back. Go ahead, Cal, then Lisa.
Yeah, so I didn't know where the Chamber of Commerce was, but the resolution says Connecticut Avenue to Vermont Avenue. So it's kind of like the backside of Lafayette Park opposite the White House. So that's where it runs, basically from the edge of Farragut Square to the edge of McPherson Square, I think, or maybe the edge of Franklin Park.
And I apologize for my rant. It's not that part of H Street.
So, yeah, but that's all right. Yeah, but the city's still majority black. And so to me, I would imagine, I project that it would be offensive to have that happen to the black community here. And as far as how that gets done, we know that, the National Park and Planning Commission is responsible for the grounds around the White House, and Trump just bypassed them. So he can do whatever, he seems to be able to do whatever he wants. And the Congress, of course,
Cal?
can pass laws regarding the District of Columbia. So that's all I want to say on that.
Okay, thank you, Cal. Lisa, then we'll wrap up this portion of our agenda.
So, yeah, so my question is, well, in terms of Cal kind of explained how the renamings occur. I know our council can rename streets. Regarding the mayor, I don't know if the mayor has seen a version of this resolution, because I don't know what commissions have passed it and have not passed it. They probably wouldn't weigh in. I mean, if commission sent this up, I don't expect that they would weigh in on it. But we can imagine how they would feel. I mean, they're not going to like that. But Corinthia or Libby, can you tell me if the current resolution discusses the connection with the portion of the street that coincides with the former Black Lives Matter Plaza Way? Isn't it still named that? Actually, the mayor renamed that.
Trump asked that it be renamed.
But what I'm asking is it still called Black Lives Matter Plaza Way currently?
I do not think so. I think that was one of the first things he did. Well, he tore it down. I mean, he bulldozed the
mural on the street.
It doesn't look like it did anymore. It doesn't have the
yellow. I believe the mayor took the mural up, but we can, so here's my recommendation. So
yeah, we can look back into that. I don't know if the sign is still there on the streets or not.
No, like the sign is not there.
The street sign.
Oh, the street sign.
Not the ground.
No.
Lisa, I thought I heard you ask if the resolution does not refer to Black Lives Matter.
Okay, so my recommendation would be if we recommend this to the ANC to clarify if it currently is named Black Lives Plaza Matter. I mean, what would we be substituting it for? So what is it currently named? We know the mayor at one point in time renamed it Black Lives Matter Plaza. Is it still named that? And then
I can tell you. Sorry, Lisa, I can tell you that.
Okay.
It says that the original name has been restored. The area has been returned to its previous designation as 16th Street. Mural and signage have been removed. And the DC mayor stated the evolution was intended to focus on other issues and to avoid congressional interference.
Okay. Well, I would say that we suggest to the ANC to add like a couple clauses about the original name. We can use, if that probably is something, a statement from the mayor, we could probably pull that out as well.
Could we also, I mean, they talk about future plans that the mayor indicated that the area may be used for new murals as part of a different project. Can we make a recommendation about the nature of the murals going forward?
I don't know if the nature of the murals would be germane to the renaming. I would keep it just specifically focused on the renaming.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think like one or two just additional informational clauses about that original street name, how we got where we were, and now this is like, the consequence of that.
Can we also, I'm reading one of the first resolve section, it says, affirms its opposition to words and conduct promoting racism, bigotry, et cetera, and to say something along the lines of what I said, that it's an affront to the majority Black population of the city.
Say that again, Cal.
That it's an affront or an offensive to the majority Black population of the city.
So,
well as everybody else.
Yeah, I was going to say, we could put something in there like that. Isn't that already kind of in there though?
Well, it just says affirms its opposition to words and conduct promoting racism, bigotry, and a bunch of other things.
Where are you reading from?
Reading from the first resolved paragraph, second resolved paragraph. Sorry, the
Okay,
first.
can you read that so we're like clear
Well,
what?
can I just put it up on the screen real quick?
Yeah, I think we need to share.
One thing is that H Street is home to historic venues such as Ben's Chili Bowl, Atlas Theater, Apollo Theater, which were historic centers.
Well, notwithstanding my rant before, this portion of H Street is in the neighborhood of Lafayette Park and the White House and the Black Lives, up to 16th Street, that neighborhood, which is doesn't have the same kind of history.
I can't share my screen. Can somebody
just read it?
Fix that.
I
Well,
can read it.
Okay.
I made you
I'll read
co-host,
it.
Cal.
All right, here we go. That's easier if you read it.
Be it further resolved. Do you have
There
it?
it is.
Go.
Yep. So I was talking about this one here.
Go ahead and read it, Cal.
Read it now, please.
Be it further resolved, Advisory Neighborhood Commission blank line, while supporting the constitutional protection of freedom of speech, it should say, it just says freedom of speech, or it's something needs to be fixed in the grammar there. Advisory Neighborhood Commission blank affirms its opposition to words and conduct promoting racism, bigotry, sexism, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, political violence, discrimination by sexual orientation or gender identification.
Okay. And what was your question about that?
Well, I'm assuming, and I see people chimed in saying it's kind of a Black Lives Matter, all lives matter conversation it's turned into. But, since we have a majority Black population, this would seem to be an affront to that large segment of our population, that majority segment of our population. And I think so. I think that's stronger than simply saying we oppose words and conduct. I'd like to see that added, something like that added.
So yeah,
somewhere in one of the resolve sections.
I understand. Okay.
If we're wordsmithing, I think it is no longer a majority Black population, but I think you can say something along the lines of particularly in a city with a majority Black and brown population.
Well, in the 2020 census, it was 50 some
Cal, sorry. If we can work on the wording on the resolution, I think I'll get to you, Shannon. I think the one thing we need to do is focus on at least having a recommendation, drafting a recommendation to go to the ANC that the ANC takes on this resolution. So Shannon, you could go ahead and then we can wrap it up if anyone wants to take the lead on writing the recommendation, drafting the recommendation that we send over to the ANC, let us know, and then we can get to you, Miguel. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Shannon.
One thing that I think may be important to also include is that it's not just about that street that is being proposed, but rather about all streets in DC. We don't want the focus to be shifted to, okay, so we're not going to do that street, we're going to do a different street, and just kind of pass the buck along. So I think making it really clear that the idea of this kind of naming is offensive anywhere in DC, or anywhere in the DC area should be the focus, not just where the street is and what it abuts.
I agree.
Yep.
Yep.
Also, if I can just jump in, I'm sorry, I don't know how to use the hand raise emoji, but I would just like to say I think it's offensive to the majority of the population of DC, not just the African American community. There are many African Americans who are supportive of Charlie Kirk for some reason. So I think segmenting that out is I don't think that's accurate. I would think it's more just the majority of people in the DC area would find the action offensive, the renaming offensive, and then Congress overstepping their bounds offensive.
I think certainly within the District of Columbia, which is, far, far lefter than even Maryland or Virginia. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. So as we wrap up this, is there any committee members that's interested in working with Libby and I in drafting the recommendation? So we have Ty, Cal, okay, and Lester. Okay, thank you. So stay tuned.
Libby.
And our next ANC meeting is October 27th. Our goal is not
Hold
to
on.
have there.
Libby wants to say something.
Hang on, you're moving too fast.
Yeah, I just had one more question about this. Do we know which other ANCs? I'm under the impression that many of the ANCs have already supported this, a resolution that's been drafted.
Oh,
I can check, Libby, and what I'll do is I'll go into the ANC portal and see if I see any out there, and I'll send them to you all.
Yeah, because I think there's been already a lot of other ANCs that have signed on to this.
Okay, I'll double check.
Okay. So with that, I have Ty, Cal, Lester, Libby. Did you have something, Lisa?
Yeah, just real quick. Can we, the group that's working on the language, reference the chat? Because there are some really good comments that folks had placed in the chat. I think.
Okay, so I'll grab the chat.
Yeah,
I don't know if I could copy and paste it, but I'll grab the chat. So, and then as I was trying to say, we won't have the recommendation available to give to the ANC for our next meeting on the 27th, but our next meeting will be November 10th. So maybe we can try and strive towards that. If not, I can't remember the next meeting after that. So with that, next on our agenda, Miguel, my apologies for the delay, but we have Miguel here, Commissioner. I don't know which ANC you're with, but you can go on. Which one?
1B06.
1B06. He's here to talk to us about Home Rule Caucus. So.
And where is 1B06?
It's Malcolm X Park.
Woo!
The crossroads of the district.
So let me set this up a little bit. First of all, Miguel, thank you so much for joining us and for being so excited when I reached out and said, would you come speak to the group? But one of the things that you guys might know, we had in the ANC kind of a broad discussion about, the events that are occurring with the administration and the changes that we've seen as a result in the District of Columbia. Commissioner Sherman did a poll of his SMD, and a lot of our constituents throughout the ANC took it, and there was a lot of good feedback in there in terms of what they wanted to see the ANC do. One of the things that I saw out of that poll was work with other commissions across the city on issues. And myself, along with Commissioner Liz Nagy, are members of the Home Rule Caucus. So I've been at some of the meetings, working with Miguel and some of the other commissioners on resolutions, which the ANC adopted one very early on. We're doing some additional work. And I thought this is like another area that's really good for race to kind of understand what's going on, like citywide in terms of the equity issues that we see coming out of that. So I wanted Miguel, who is chair of the Home Rule Caucus, to come in and just talk to everybody about what that caucus is doing, how it's taken up its work, and some of the issues that it's addressing. Miguel.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for being such a booster. I appreciate it. I don't have like a polished presentation, so I'll just talk a little bit about some things that we've been doing in the Home Rule Caucus and what my grand ambitions and dreams for it are, and then we can do a couple questions. And I'm not going to take the whole 20 or 25 minutes I was allotted. So I'm a little under the weather. I'm not think I'll be able to talk that long either. So let's see how we do. But right, as Lisa said, the basic premise was just to coordinate across the city. Obviously, home rule issues touch us all. And we don't really have a lot of forums for citywide collaboration as commissioners. And they all have access to each other. You know, it's very possible. The barriers are low, but there's not like an annual convening of all the commissioners in the city or anything like that. I think that was tried like in 93 or something. And since then, I don't think anyone has really tried to pull that kind of thing together. And I realized at the beginning of this year, around Inauguration Day, that something was going to happen that was going to require us to respond. And it'd be good if we sort of built the muscle memory in advance. So we started meeting maybe in March or so, just to get to know each other, you know, and like build a little social capital together. Just so that when we, you know, when the time came, we would have some networks formed already. So, of course, the time did come. We kind of swung into action in August in response to the federalization of the MPD, the federal law enforcement surge, and the National Guard. And so, you know, luckily we knew each other by then. We had some relationships formed across the city. And so it made it much easier to do a project like, let's all pass the same resolution condemning the federal overreach in law enforcement. So, you know, I think my plan kind of mostly worked. We're a group of, I think it's 75 commissioners. We're in all 8 wards. We don't have one person from each commission, but we're pretty close. So, you know, when we need to coordinate on something, we know where to reach out. And so my goal is to just keep building that capacity, that muscle memory, like I described it, so that, you know, when challenges do arise, we know how to pick up the phone. And we're, you know, I've met Lisa through this, and, you know, so if this, you know, we need a 3-4G voice on something, I know who to call, and we can move this stuff much faster. You know, secretly, since there's no one else in the room here with us, I'll admit that I would love to actually start thinking about what would an all ANC meeting look like, or we've been talking about just having a gathering of all the commission chairs to start, you know, once a year, twice a year, you know, and that has nothing to do with the emergency, really. Even in normal times, that would be useful. Like, I would love to know what you guys are working on. You know, you have good policy ideas that bubble up. You pass a resolution, you send it to council. Maybe council does something with it, maybe they don't. But usually there's no avenue for me to find out what 3-4G is doing unless I proactively go out and sign up for your newsletter. And I did not sign up for all 46 commissions newsletters, you know, so I just don't know. We don't have, like, you know, good conduits for information like that. So we're trying to build that capacity in that way. Excuse me for my my voice. I just sent a share request. I think maybe an easy thing to do would be, thank you, just to show a little.
I just made you co-host. You should be able to share.
I got it. So I think, one sec, sorry. Yes, there we go. So just as a way of bragging about some things that we have done and continue to work on, this is my commission, very proud of it. And we've given the Home Rule Caucus its own page on here, just to track the things that we're doing. Really, it'd be nice if it had its own website, but nobody's got time or money for that right now. So every project we do, I put a little section here. So right away after federalization in August, we did an op-ed that ran in the 51st, and about 100 commissioners signed on to it, authored by Commissioners Footer, Sherman, and Allison. So there's a link to the op-ed there. Our big product was this resolution condemning federal overreach in policing and demanding the return of the $1 billion from Congress. And you can read the document here, and then there's a list of all the commissions that passed it and the dates. Might have a couple more to add to that. Let me take that away as homework. Right now, since September, and I'm still working on this one, we had a second resolution we tried to get all commissions to pass, which called for an end to federal agents wearing masks during enforcement operations. and called for them to wear agency identifiable clothing. You know, there's been a lot of federal personnel who wear a vest that just says police or federal officer or something like that. It doesn't say what agency they're with. And, you know, we kind of find all of that very dystopian and unnecessary and obviously just designed to intimidate. So we've been shopping that resolution around. Definitely have a couple more to add on here. Maybe about 12 or 15 commissions have adopted it. I see 3.4G is not on there yet. So if you haven't taken it up, I strongly encourage you. I think this is one of the most important policy points we can advocate for right now. And it's been 2 months since the emergency declaration, and they're still out there with masks on, even though the mayor also agrees they need to stop doing that. I mean, but there's just been, you know, no strong push up for the federal government to end that. We also did a joint letter in response to the offer that we received from the director of the DC National Guard. I'm not sure if you saw this covered in the news or you talked about it in your meeting. He wrote a letter to all commissioners and asked what neighborhood projects they could participate in while they're here in DC. And we very, very eloquently, I have to say, Commissioner Howard Garrett did a wonderful job on this letter, wrote back to him and said, thanks, but no thanks. You know, especially because we wrote to him and clarified that the only things they were able to do was like light landscaping and trash pickup. And we wrote back and said, our communities have needs, but you know, they should be taken care of by properly funding the National Park Service and other things, you know, who are agencies that are actually capable of meeting those needs, not the guard walking around with a leaf blower. So that was something we did in September. Right now, we're doing a few projects related to MPD oversight. We found that there has not been really any public oversight of MPD's ongoing cooperation with federal law enforcement after the emergency declaration. So we have a draft letter just about to be finalized to the mayor. Actually, sorry, the one to the mayor that we're working on has to do with asking her for progress report on their efforts to end the masking and unidentifiable federal agents. We're working on a sign-on letter to do with to the council that asks for an oversight hearing about MPD and the policies that it's operating under in the post-emergency environment, because we don't have a clear idea of what those are. And we're working on one more thing, and I don't have my notebook with me. Let me find it. Which is, it's a letter also to the council supporting Chairman Mendelson's call for an investigation into the incident. I don't know if you guys saw this in the news maybe 3 weeks ago or so at DC Bilingual, where some MPD officers were adjacent to an immigration enforcement action that was happening, and the parents got kind of upset and the school leadership got upset, and they were kind of asking the MPD questions and yelling at them, and the MPD officers lost their temper and they were yelling back at the crowd, and they said, don't call 911 anymore. If you don't like us, we're not going to help you, whatever, which was like obviously incredibly unprofessional and all of that. So that caused an outroar, and then school leadership wrote to the council and said this was inappropriate and asked for follow-up steps, and Chairman Mendelson called for an investigation, internal investigation at MPD. So we're preparing a letter supporting his call for an investigation. So right now, we're very focused on those questions of public safety and what MPD is doing, since it's all been a bit opaque. I'll note that we've been inviting Deputy Mayor for Public Safety and Justice, Lindsay Appiah, to our commission over and over and over again to like answer community questions, and she does not write back. So there's this sort of a general stonewalled feeling coming from the administration, which I really don't love. So that's what the caucus has been focused on this month. But every month is some new, some fresh hell. So, but I'm glad that we exist to think it through together, and we have people with really great experience. I mean, commissioners are so cool. You know, Commissioner Gore, your background in the federal government, you know, it adds a very important perspective on the things that we're working on. My background is also in immigration, you know, so people bring their legal expertise and, you know, whatever they have to offer. So I think it's a very strong group, and I'm very proud to be part of it. With that, any questions? Happy to, or if you guys have suggestions of things that we should be looking into with a home rule lens.
Yeah.
So this is the Racial and Social Equity Committee, and I was wondering if you might have any thoughts or comments about about what you said through the lens that we look at things through that?
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible not to see that in the immigration question, right? The immigration enforcement question. And that's fallen probably, I would assume, check the stats, but I'm sure those operations have fallen hardest on my ward, and on Mount Pleasant here, just, Columbia Heights, just up the street. Um, and, um, the I don't think I've heard it articulated from the Bowser administration in those terms, and that's missing, and so we try to foreground that in our language, in our discussion, that the pattern of immigration enforcement is falling on certain neighborhoods disequitably, let's say, um, and there probably is a case to be made that DC's human rights law is not being followed, right? Which protects people based on their immigration status, based on the language they speak, based on the way they look. And we know, under the Supreme Court order from 6 or 8 weeks ago, the federal government now, is operating under rules that say the language someone speaks can be one of the grounds of suspicion for apprehending them, right? Or even the fact that they speak a language with a certain accent, or that they have a certain profession, right? Those are factors that the federal government now is free to take into account when they consider apprehending somebody, which is insane, and that appears to violate DC's human rights law. So we are trying to articulate our concerns in those in that language as well, because that's certainly, and I'm glad that some members of the council also do, but the Bowser administration, to my knowledge, is staying away from that. I'm presumably under their grand theory of don't poke the bear. But for us, it's important to give voice to that, especially my being in the board I'm in.
So I guess yes, thanks for that. And I'm also looking, because you're generally about home rule beyond just that one issue of immigration. Is there anything else about the issue of home rule that we might look through our lens, or that you might see through our lens?
That's an interesting question. The underlying every conversation about home rule, or statehood, or even just our ability to govern ourselves, I think is always the racial reality of the district and the history of the district, right? So it's not something that we've thought deliberately about in terms of how do we bring that into our decision making. But I love this challenge to do so. Beyond the immigration question, of course. So let me take that away and think about how to infuse that into our thinking, especially as we go forward. God willing, the emergency period passes, and the National Guard, I guess, will leave next year at some point, and maybe the law enforcement surge will abate, and we'll still exist as a caucus, and that might mean that we can just sort of turn our attention back to how do we actually strengthen home rule, not just defend it. And how can that pivot into statehood advocacy or something more systemic and structural like that? So let me take that as a point to think about and work into sort of, we don't have like a charter for the Home Rule Caucus. We were just born out of sort of panic and emergency. So we don't have like a 3-year plan, but gosh, we absolutely should. So thank you for raising it.
Yeah, I would.
Okay, so thank you.
You actually have an answer for that right now, so thank you.
Okay, so it's 8:02. I see we have 2 hands raised. I want to be cognizant of time. We only have an hour for our meeting. So Brian and Ron, if you could go ahead, about 30 seconds.
So I just wanted to say obrigado to Miguel, and also ask the question whether we're thinking about the Latinx community as we go into winter, and how to support people around the holiday season and around food and those kinds of things as well. Are you working with the community to kind of reach out to other ANCs about how they're supporting the immigrant community?
Not as the caucus. In my capacity as a commissioner, definitely. One thing that we've just started doing is I recruited some people through the Free DC network to help me here in Malcolm X Park. Every Tuesday, there's a grocery distribution line that serves a lot of primarily Latino neighbors. It's like a partnership with Whole Foods, and it's like an excess grocery, giveaway kind of situation. And of course, Malcolm X Park is federal property, and so I've always been concerned that people lining up in there who certainly some of them have mixed immigration status or whatever are in process or are vulnerable in some way are kind of sitting ducks on that property, and so we've organized a patrol. Thank goodness I had these wonderful volunteers from Free DC because I can't do it for 4 hours every week consistently myself. So now we're in a rotating scheme to make sure that there are people there who speak Spanish, who have know your rights literature, who have legal aid phone numbers, and also walk a patrol kind of around the perimeter of the park. And so that's been our way of like making sure at least that there's that element of food security, let's say, is established. That was just kind of step one for me. I'm in conversation with the chair of 1D, which is the Mount Pleasant ANC, where they've been organizing neighborhood grocery deliveries for neighbors who are too fearful to leave the house to go to Giant or whatever. So I'm trying to figure out, can my commission lend people to that, or can we also recruit more people through Free DC? So we've done some of those efforts already. I haven't thought about that in the holiday context, but I certainly will.
So I just had a very quick comment and one question, Miguel. The comment is I'm not sure how the RASE Committee might comment on this, but my personal comment and what you're saying is I think this caucus is a fabulous idea in two directions. One, in terms of ANC's neighborhoods getting together to try and express some opinions on issues to the council and to the mayor. There's strength in numbers to have positions to impact policy. I think that's great. At the other end of the scale, I think it's great for individual ANCs to know what's going on in other ANCs, which is I belong to organizations that are working in multiple ANCs, and I see multiple ANCs grappling with the same issues in very different ways, and they would really benefit from understanding what's going on in other ANCs. So that's my comment. I think it's a great idea, this caucus, and I hope it moves forward. My question is, so Brianne is not running again. Are you going to run?
This
Right
meeting
here,
is
right now?
recorded. No,
This meeting is
get back
We
to
won't
us.
tell anybody. This is not
Get back to us.
this is not like the Kojo show or anything. We won't tell anybody, but you can tell us.
It's very strongly under consideration.
Okay.
Good. You should do it.
Well, thank you, Miguel, for your presentation today. It's 8:06. I want to wrap up our meeting, but just a reminder, our next RASE meetings will be November 20th and December 18th. And then we will have a Get Your Halloween On meet and greet. And this is an opportunity for us to kind of get to know each other more and just members of the community in time where we're not limited to just 1 hour. So that will be from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Chevy Chase Lounge, 5510 Connecticut Avenue. Is there anything else before we wrap up? No? Well, just ending with that.
Just that the meet and greet is open to everybody. It's outside of the neighborhood, anybody who is, it's a chance for us to get out in the community and just talk to each other, have a good time.
Yes. And thank you to all the new members. So happy to have more people to spread out the work. So we're glad you're here. And that's all. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.